The room fell into stunned silence as all eyes turned toward Alicia. Surprised by her sudden outburst, even she couldn't believe how forcefully her words had escaped her lips. Lara's eyes pleaded with Alicia, silently urging her not to reveal the truth about the article. But it was too late. Jeremy had already let slip that Lara wasn't solely responsible for the article. The truth was already halfway out of the bag. Alicia couldn't bear to watch Lara face Logan Wilde's wrath alone, or witness her suffer the consequences of their shared secret. She knew that she, too, must shoulder her part of the responsibility. Summoning her courage, Alicia's voice rang out in defiance. "You have no right to take Lara away," she declared. Her tone filled with conviction. "It's against the law." Logan's eyes narrowed, his gaze chillingly cold as he stared down Alicia. The weight of his dominance and authority bore down upon her. But she refused to back down. Terence offered a silent prayer for the young woman who dared to openly challenge Mr. Wilde's authority. Many had attempted the same before, only to face dire consequences. He knew the risks Alicia was taking. Jeremy, a mix of frustration and fear etched across his face, dismissed Alicia with a stern warning. "Mr. Wilde, please forgive Alicia," he groveled, his words laden with deference. "She is a new employee and may not fully comprehend how things work." Alicia bristled at Jeremy's attempt to diminish and silence her. She stood her ground, and her words rang out loud and clear. "We have the right to report on public events and public figures," she asserted, her voice resolute. "Mr. Logan Wilde, as a prominent public figure, and the party at the Grand Opulence Hotel were all part of the public domain. Writing about you and Miss Olivia Anderson, as well as capturing photographs, falls within our rights. It's not an invasion of privacy or a breach of the law." Her colleagues, inspired by Alicia's impassioned defense, nodded in eager agreement, their eyes reflecting a newfound sense of unity. However, a sharp glance from Logan silenced their collective support. The weight of his presence demanded their obedience. But Alicia refused to be coward. She turned her gaze back to Logan, her voice filled with conviction. "If you believe your privacy has been invaded, or if you feel slandered, you have every right to pursue legal channels," she declared boldly. "But you cannot take away a staff member of the newspaper and resort to private punishment." Logan's face remained stoic and inscrutable, his gaze locked with Alicia's. He contemplated her words, the gears of his mind turning behind his piercing eyes. With deliberate calmness, he asked the question that hung in the air between them. "And what if I insist on taking Miss Morris away?" Alicia's composure wavered slightly. She swallowed the lump forming in her throat, her voice steadying as she tried to muster her courage. "Then I will have no choice but to call the police," she replied, her tone laced with determination. Logan's lips curled into a faint, knowing smile. The game of wills between them intensified, the air crackling with tension. "On whose behalf would you call the police?" he asked, his voice deceptively calm. "And on what grounds? May I remind you Miss Morris herself has agreed to come with us?" He shot a questioning glance at Lara, who nodded nervously. Alicia's mind raced, searching for a fitting response. But she found herself momentarily stumped. The weight of Logan's challenge pressed upon her, his superiority suffocating her bravado. Sensing her hesitation, Logan leaned in closer, his voice a low, commanding whisper. "You see, Miss Jansen, the world is not as black and white as you believe it to be," he murmured, his breath grazing her ear. "There are always shades of gray, and I happen to hold power over many of them." Alicia's resolve wavered under the weight of his proximity, and the power he exuded. Alicia's heart pounded in her chest as panic surged through her veins. She watched in alarm as Logan ordered his imposing bodyguards to take Lara Morris away. Determined not to let an injustice occur before her eyes, Alicia summoned her courage and stepped forward. "Blocking Logan's path. You can't do this. This is kidnapping," she protested, her voice laced with desperation. Logan's eyes locked onto Alicia's, his face impassive. Without warning, he leaned forward, invading her personal space. The scent of his cologne enveloped her, making her senses reel. Startled, she instinctively leaned back, but Logan leaned in even closer until their noses nearly touched. The intimate proximity sent shivers down Alicia's spine. In a low, chilling whisper, Logan's voice reached her ears. "If you insist on blocking my way, I won't hesitate to continue the punishment I meted out earlier in the hallway," he warned, his breath caressing her skin. Alicia's heart skipped a beat. The memory of their earlier encounter flooded her mind, the forceful kiss, the overwhelming sensations that had left her breathless. Fear mingled with a strange and unsettling desire as she grappled with her conflicting emotions. Alicia took an involuntary step back, her resolve momentarily shaken, but determination burned within Alicia's core. She gritted her teeth, gathered her strength, and stepped forward once again. Meeting Logan's penetrating gaze, she mirrored his earlier whisper, ensuring that only the two of them could hear their words. "I know what you're trying to do, Mr. Wilde," she replied, her voice steady despite the quiver in her heart. "If you release Lara, I'm willing to go with you." Logan sneered, his eyes glinting with a mix of mockery and disbelief. He retorted sarcastically, "Oh, how flattering. What makes you believe I would want someone like you?" Alicia felt a sting of humiliation, but she refused to let it deter her. She held her head high, her eyes locking with his challenging gaze. "It's not about what you want," she fired back, her voice laced with defiance. "It's about ensuring justice and fairness. Let Lara go, and I will willingly accompany you." The room fell into stunned silence as Logan turned away from Alicia, his dismissive stride cutting through the tension like a blade. He walked out of the karaoke room, leaving everyone in a state of disbelief and confusion. Alicia's determination surged as she chased after Logan, her heart pounding. She swiftly blocked his path, confronting him with a fiery gaze. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Alicia demanded. Logan's expression hardened, his voice dripping with aloofness. "This is between Lara Morris and me. It's none of your damn business." Alicia felt the sting of his barbed words and shot back. "Well, maybe that's true, but that kiss between us earlier was definitely my business." Logan's eyes flickered with a hint of something unreadable. "The kiss was your deserved punishment, and I was merely trying to confirm something." Infuriated, Alicia pressed him, her voice laced with frustration. "Confirm what, Logan?" Without offering an explanation, Logan abruptly turned on his heel and walked away, leaving Alicia standing there, a mix of emotions swirling within her. To make things worse, Jeremy Chavez emerged from the karaoke room, his suspicious gaze fixed on Alicia. He wasted no time probing. "What did you and Mr. Wilde talk about?" Alicia dismissed it with a casual shrug, her voice nonchalant. "Oh, nothing important." Jeremy's skepticism was palpable as he remarked, "You seem to be on rather friendly terms with Mr. Wilde. Are you sure you don't know him personally?" Alicia swiftly denied any personal connection, her voice dripping with feigned innocence. "Please, Mr. Chavez, you know I don't move in the same circle as the esteemed Mr. Wilde. I don't know him from a hole in the wall." Jeremy remained unconvinced, his suspicion lingering. He shifted the focus, reminding Alicia of the trouble the photos had caused Buzzbeat. Alicia was stunned by his shameless audacity. "Mr. Chavez, let's get one thing straight," Alicia retorted, her voice firm. "I took the photos, but they went through the usual process. You, as the chief editor, reviewed and approved them. So let's share the blame, shall we? Jeremy stumbled, caught off guard by her bold accusation. He struggled to find a response, his words faltering in the face of her justified argument. Never mind that now. This is not the time to point fingers. Alicia's concern for Lara Morris couldn't be contained any longer. Mr. Chavez, shouldn't we call the police? I mean, Logan's men took Lara away. This isn't right. Jeremy's fear overshadowed any sense of justice, his voice laced with apprehension. No, Alicia, we can't involve the police. Logan Weald is a man we can't afford to cross. Besides, Lara will probably be released tomorrow. I'm sure he won't do anything drastic. Alicia's disgust at Jeremy's obsequiousness and disregard for their colleagues simmered within her. You're such a spineless lackey, Jeremy, Alicia muttered under her breath. Despite having just landed a job today, she no longer felt so optimistic about working under a man who bowed down to the rich and powerful while treating his own employees like trash. Jeremy's gaze lingered on Alicia's body, thinking back to the interrupted scene in his office earlier today. Hey, it's getting late, and it's not safe for a girl like you to be out alone. Let me give you a ride. Alicia rolled her eyes, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Oh, thank you, knight in shining armor. But I can handle myself just fine, thanks. Jeremy persisted, his voice taking on a patronizing tone. But what if something happens to you? You need protection. Alicia's eyes narrowed, her voice filled with biting wit. Oh, please. Your presence wouldn't be of much help. You stood idly by while Lara was taken away, and you weren't any help then either. With a dismissive wave, Alicia excused herself, leaving Jeremy fuming with insult and humiliation. He quickly blocked her path, his face red with anger. What the hell do you think you're doing? Is that how you talk to your boss? Jeremy spat, his voice dripping with menace. I can fire you right now. Alicia shrugged, her voice filled with defiance. Go ahead, Jeremy. Fire me if you dare. But remember, it was your lack of action that allowed Lara to be taken. Working under a spineless chief editor like you, I might as well be next. Jeremy's fury surged, his voice brimming with venom. You signed a contract, Alicia. If you resign without a valid reason in the first 6 months, you'll owe Buzzbeat 10 times your monthly salary. Think about that. Smirking, Alicia met his threat head-on, her voice confident. I'll take my chances, Jeremy. You can shove your contract. I'm not afraid of you. She swiftly exited the karaoke lounge. The night breeze, clearing her alcohol-addled mind, as she stepped into the embrace of the cool night, her phone buzzed, drawing her attention. A gentle smile graced her lips as she answered the call from her 5-year-old son. Milo. Hey, sweetheart. Her voice filled with tenderness. I thought you went to bed already. Did you miss Mommy? I'll be home soon. Don't worry. It's not that, Milo said calmly. Aunt Veronica has been checking her watch every 2 minutes. I think she's running late. Maybe I should ask her to head out first. No, Alicia said quickly. You can't be left alone in the apartment. Ask Aunt Veronica to stay put. I'll get a taxi and be home in 20 minutes. As promised, 20 minutes later, Alicia trudged through the door, her weary body longing for the comfort of her 2-bedroom apartment on the 9th floor. Fatigue weighed her down, yet she summoned the last reserves of energy to announce her return. I'm back, she called out. From the cramped living room, both Milo and Veronica rose from the worn-out sofa, their attention immediately drawn to Alicia's presence. Veronica, with her characteristic sweet smile, welcomed Alicia, her genuine affection radiating like a warm embrace. Milo, on the other hand, wore his usual inscrutable poker face, his gray-blue eyes mirroring the enigmatic allure of someone Alicia couldn't ignore. As Alicia caught sight of her son's striking resemblance to Logan Wilde, her mind wandered into a realm of contemplation. Milo and Logan shared an undeniable connection. One that went beyond mere physical appearance, even their personalities mirrored each other. Milo preferred spending his time in the company of books or his computer to playing with kids his age, while Logan also appeared to be rather unapproachable. It was a realization Alicia couldn't escape, an inevitable conclusion that tugged at her heart. Milo, ever the perceptive soul, noticed the cloud of melancholy hovering over his mother. "What's wrong, Mom? You look unhappy." His innocent yet probing observation yanked Alicia back to reality, snapping her out of her thoughts. She marveled at Milo's maturity, his ability to perceive the emotions that danced beneath the surface. A soft smile curved Alicia's lips as she embraced her son, her touch a balm against the weariness that clung to her. "It's nothing, my love, just a long day." Veronica also picked up on Alicia's distracted state and the lingering scent of alcohol that clung to her. Concern flickered in her eyes as she pressed Alicia for the truth. "Alicia, something's not right. You seem off, and you've been drinking, which is unusual for you. Is there trouble at work?" "No trouble at work, actually," Alicia confessed. "In fact, I just secured a full-time position at Buzzbeat. The late dinner was meant to celebrate with my colleagues, though." After witnessing the way Jeremy acted tonight, Alicia was having second thoughts about her future at the company. Veronica's eyes sparkled with pride and joy for her sister's accomplishment, but her concern remained. "Are you sure that's all, Alicia? You seem lost. Like there's something else on your mind. Are you sure you're okay?" Alicia hesitated, the weight of her thoughts heavy upon her. She couldn't bear to burden Veronica with her inner turmoil, not when her sister had her own responsibilities to tend to. With a forced smile, Alicia dismissed Veronica's concerns. "It's nothing, really. I'll be fine. Just need some rest. And aren't you running late for your convenience store clerk job?" Veronica grabbed her backpack hastily. "Shoot, I'm already running late." She headed for the door. "I'll be back at 8 in the morning." Alicia called after her. "Be careful, Veronica. Watch out for yourself out there." Veronica nodded. "I'll be fine. Don't worry. Bye, sis. Bye, Milo." With a final wave, Veronica disappeared into the night. Alicia's exclamation resurfaced, her body craving the solace of rest. Yet, the echoes of resemblance between Milo and Logan lingered in her mind, like a melody that refused to fade away. She sat on the sofa, Milo nestled on her lap, their connection providing a sense of comfort amidst the uncertainty that loomed over them. "How was your day, my little scholar?" Alicia asked, her voice filled with a mother's warmth and curiosity. She admired Milo's intelligence and his ability to surpass his classmates, a reminder of his exceptional mind. Milo shrugged, his eyes reflecting a hint of boredom. "It was okay, Mom. The classes were pretty dull," he replied, his voice tinged with a touch of apathy. Alicia couldn't help but smile, proud of her son's intellectual prowess. She ruffled his hair gently. "You're too smart for them, my love. You've always been ahead of the game." Milo's perceptive nature kicked in once again, his gaze sharpening as he sensed his mother's distraction. He leaned closer, his voice laced with concern. "Mom, is something bothering you? You've been acting different since last night." Alicia marveled at her son's perceptiveness, his ability to read her like an open book. She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. Milo deserved to know, to be a part of the decision-making process. She shifted on the sofa, ensuring their eye contact remained unbroken. "Well, my love, I may have encountered someone who could potentially be your father," Alicia confessed, her voice tinged with trepidation. "But He doesn't seem to be a very nice guy. She recalled Logan's aloofness and domineering attitude, and his disregard for the law when he took Lara Morris away. She watched Milo's reaction closely, searching for any flicker of emotion. The boy's expression remained calm, his brow slightly furrowed, mirroring the contemplative nature of the man who had left an indelible mark on Alicia's life. Alicia couldn't help but draw parallels between Milo's response and Logan's enigmatic presence. Her heart swirled with emotions as she pondered the man who had left her a bundle of cash and a blood-smeared note 6 years ago. The man had taken her first time, only to vanish without a trace. Milo's voice broke the silence, his tone measured and composed. If this man doesn't seem like a good person, maybe it's best if we don't acknowledge him or tell him about us, Milo suggested, his voice reflecting a maturity that resonated with Alicia. There's no point in wasting our time on someone who doesn't deserve it. I'm content with our life. Alicia sighed, a mix of relief and melancholy washing over her. Her son's words held weight and truth. She wrapped her arms around him. You're right, Milo. I will respect your wishes. I'm content with our life the way it is, too. Saband, Chendi. The following morning, Alicia called Lara on her way to work. When Lara finally answered, Alicia sensed the weariness in her voice, the weight of the previous night's events evident. Lara, are you okay? Alicia asked, her voice filled with genuine concern. She could almost hear the exhaustion and strain in Lara's hoarse reply. I'm fine, Lara murmured. Just resting at home. Alicia pressed further. What did Logan do to you last night? Lara's voice trembled as she recounted the harrowing experience. She was taken to a grand house with an expansive yard, where she spent almost half an hour being chased by dogs set upon her by Logan and his men. They didn't bite me, but they sure scared the hell out of me, Lara said, her voice trembling. Alicia's heart ached at the thought of her colleague in such distress. And, Alicia, I'm sorry. I had to tell them that you were the one who took the photos. It's fine, Lara, Alicia said. She had been ready to reveal the truth anyway. As the sun began to cast its warm rays upon the city, Alicia made her way to the bustling office of Buzzbeat. Glancing around, her eyes were drawn to the sleek Land Rover parked just outside the building, its polished exterior gleaming in the morning light. The rear left car window slid down, revealing the captivating visage of none other than Logan Wilde. His chiseled features and piercing gaze sent an electric jolt through Alicia, causing her to grip her bag tightly, her heart quickening its pace. There we go, she told herself. Let storms rage against me much stronger. Attempting to remain composed, Alicia averted her gaze and hurriedly made her way towards the glass doors of the office. However, her path was abruptly blocked by a figure that loomed before her. Looking up, she found herself face to face with Jeremy Chavez. Alicia, Mr. Wilde is waiting for you. You can go with him now, Jeremy declared. Confusion swirled in Alicia's mind as she met his gaze. Mr. Chavez, why should I go with Mr. Wilde? You'll have to ask Mr. Wilde himself. He's right behind you. Alicia turned around, her eyes falling upon Logan's imposing figure standing by the Land Rover. A shiver danced down her spine as she took in his commanding presence. Summoning every ounce of her will, Alicia locked eyes with Logan. Mr. Wilde, why should I go with you? Logan's expression remained impassive, his voice laced with a touch of arrogance. Lara Morris told me it was you who took the photos of Olivia and me. Alicia's eyebrows furrowed. Even if I did take those photos, they would have required approval from our editor to make it to the headlines. In other words, he was looking at the wrong culprit. Logan let out a scornful chuckle. That's not a smart answer. You seem to have not only angered me but also your editor. Alicia stole a quick look at Jeremy, who was red in the face. "It would be wise to spare yourself further misery and come with me now," Logan said. "After all, it's not as if you'll be doing anything productive with your time." Alicia's temper flared, her voice dripping with defiance. "Mr. Wield, spare me the ridicule. You're no saint yourself." Before she could utter another word, Jeremy's hand collided with her cheek, the resounding slap echoing through the lobby. Shock washed over her, and she instinctively covered her stinging face. Her eyes widening in disbelief, Jeremy shouted at her, "Who do you think you are, speaking to Mr. Wilde in such a manner? Alicia, have you lost your mind?" Alicia's chest burned with a mixture of anger and indignation. "Jeremy Chavez, you had no right to slap me." Jeremy, his patience wearing thin, snapped, "Just shut up." Alicia turned her attention to Logan, her eyes brimming with determination. "Mr. Wilde, I'm just a new employee, a subordinate. If you have a bone to pick, take it up with my editor." "He's the one in charge," Jeremy interjected. "Alicia, do you really want to get fired?" Alicia's face throbbed with pain, her cheeks swollen from the impact of the slap. "Then fire me." In fact, it was better for her to be fired than to resign, since the former would entitle her to a generous severance package as outlined in the employment contract. Jeremy's anger reached its peak as he blurted out, "You manipulative bitch!" Unfazed, Alicia met his gaze head-on. "Not as manipulative as you." Determined to escape the volatile situation, Alicia turned to leave, only to have her wrist ensnared in Logan's firm grip. Her heart raced as she pivoted to face him, her eyes welling up with unshed tears. She refused to let them fall, determined to maintain her composure. Through her blurred vision, Alicia caught a glimpse of Logan's furrowed brow. She desperately wanted to shake off his touch, but his grasp was unyielding, refusing to release her. Logan addressed Jeremy, his voice dripping with disapproval. "Mr. Chavez, are you truly a gentleman? Why did you resort to violence against a woman?" Jeremy stood dumbfounded, his confusion evident as he met Logan's gaze. Alicia, too, was taken aback. She hadn't anticipated Logan's defense of her. "Mr. Wilde, I was merely teaching her a lesson." "She showed disrespect towards you," Jeremy hastily explained, attempting to justify his actions. Logan glanced at the mark of Jeremy's palm, imprinted on Alicia's pale face, his brows deeply knitted. Jeremy, bewildered and filled with anxiety, felt beads of sweat forming on his forehead. He couldn't fathom what he had done to earn Logan's ire. Meanwhile, Alicia's mind whirled with confusion. "Mr. Chavez, how do you suggest we settle this?" Logan turned his gaze back to Jeremy, his voice cool and commanding. Jeremy, still reeling from the unexpected turn of events, stammered, "Mr. Wilde." Logan's eyes glittered with mischief as a smile tugged at the corners of his lips. He looked at Alicia, his voice tinged with arrogance. "Alicia, I believe it's only fair for you to give him a taste of his own medicine. Slap him back. Not once, but twice. What do you say?" Jeremy's face turned pale, then flushed red, a mixture of embarrassment and shame washing over him. Alicia took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on Logan. She bit her lip. "Mr. Wilde, Jeremy Chavez may have slapped me, but I won't stoop to his level at your behest." She refused to be anyone's pawn. Logan's gaze lingered on the woman before him. A gentle smile played at his lips as he softly murmured, "You're a remarkable woman, Alicia." Alicia couldn't decipher the myriad of emotions that flickered in Logan's eyes. He was an enigma, sometimes dangerous like a tempestuous storm, and at other times gentle like a calm stream. "Terrence," Logan called out suddenly, his voice cutting through the tension. Alicia hadn't noticed when Logan's assistant had appeared, seemingly out of thin air. Terrence stepped forward, ready to fulfill his duties. "Sir, did you witness what happened to Miss Jansen just now?" Terrence replied without hesitation. "Yes, I did." Logan's gaze turned piercing as he continued, his voice filled with authority. "Then you know what to do." Terrence nodded, a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. "Yes, of course, sir. I'll leave it in your capable hands," Logan declared, his grip tightening around Alicia's wrist as he led her towards the Land Rover. Alicia struggled, then halted and turned around when she heard Jeremy's yelp of pain. Her heart pounded as she watched Jeremy fall to the ground. With a resounding thud, a surprised chuckle escaped her lips, only to be swiftly followed by a wince of pain as the movement aggravated her swollen face. Beside her, Logan's eyes glinted mischievously. As he observed her reaction, sensing his gaze, Alicia quickly composed herself, adopting a poker face as she addressed him. "Mr. Wilde, I apologize for the photos. I admit that I took them." Logan raised an eyebrow, a hint of amusement dancing in his eyes. "So, you finally admit it," Alicia nodded firmly. "There's no point in denying it any longer. It's better to be honest." Logan pressed further, his voice demanding, "Then why does it state Lara as the author of the news?" Alicia hesitated for a moment before responding. "Mr. Wilde, you must already know the answer. Why bother asking? I want to hear it from you," Logan insisted, lost in thought. Alicia found herself standing by the car. Logan opened the front passenger door, gently guiding Alicia inside. Once she was settled, he took his place behind the wheel, starting the engine. Alicia glanced at Logan, her voice tinged with resignation. "As I mentioned before, I aspired to become an official employee at BuzzBeat. I needed a big story for that to happen." A sense of helplessness washed over Alicia. She questioned her decision to join the paper as a paparazzi. Perhaps it wasn't the right fit for her. After all, a bitter laugh escaped her lips. "But that dream seems out of reach now." Logan's voice, cool and commanding, cut through the silence. "They took credit for your work, and when trouble arose, they threw you under the bus. What's the point of becoming a full-time employee under such a boss?" Alicia was taken aback. She hadn't expected Logan to grasp the situation so astutely. A smile tugged at her lips as she responded with a self-deprecating tone. "You're right. It doesn't make sense. And worse, I've managed to offend you in the process. Now that you've realized it, it's not too late," Logan stated firmly. Confusion clouded Alicia's eyes as she processed Logan's words. Something seemed off. She gazed at him with wide eyes. "Mr. Wilde, are you saying you won't hold this against me?" Logan drove leisurely, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. He didn't rush to respond, relishing in the suspense. A smug smirk played at the corners of his lips as he leaned back in his seat, his tall figure imposing within the confined space. Finally, he broke the silence, his voice laced with a lazy allure. "No one has ever dared to challenge me like you did. You're the first, but that doesn't mean I won't exact my revenge." Alicia, her hopes momentarily shattered, felt her voice catch in her throat. She slumped her shoulders, resigned to her fate. "How do you plan to seek revenge on me?" The car passed by a pharmacy and came to a halt. Logan stepped out of the car, leaving Alicia perplexed. "Stay in the car. If you dare run away, you'll face the consequences," Logan warned. Alicia remained seated, her mind whirling with questions. Logan returned in just a few minutes, holding a bag in his hand, a faint smile gracing his features. Well, I see you didn't run away." Alicia remained silent. Logan slid back into the car, His gaze fixed on her. He observed the deep palm print on her face, evidence of Jeremy's forceful blow. Opening the bag, Logan retrieved a bottle of ointment he had purchased. The cool fragrance of mint filled the air as he squeezed a dollop of the paste onto his finger, slowly reaching towards Alicia's face. Instinctively, she flinched and attempted to back away. But the car door halted her retreat. Logan persisted, gently applying the ointment to her swollen cheek. Instantly, a soothing, minty sensation enveloped her skin, easing the pain and reducing the swelling. Alicia sat frozen, her watery eyes locked on the man before her. Logan's gaze held an enigmatic depth, drawing her in like a moth to a flame. His long eyelashes fluttered gently as he blinked. A mesmerizing sight. Feeling a mix of embarrassment and unease, Alicia squirmed, attempting to resist his touch. "Stay still." Logan's voice was low and husky. Alicia's body tensed. She didn't dare make a move as he continued to squeeze ointment onto his fingers and gently applied it to her face. Each stroke, spreading the ointment across the palm print, heightened her shock, leaving her unable to react. Logan's touch, surprisingly, was soft and gentle. It felt as though he was tending to the most precious of treasures, creating an illusion that shattered Alicia's composure. The more he rubbed, the gentler he became, causing a deep blush to creep up her cheeks. Feeling a surge of unease, Alicia averted her gaze. "Does it still hurt?" Logan asked, startled. Alicia hurriedly replied, "Number, thank you. It doesn't hurt anymore." She pushed his hand away, hoping to put an end to the intimate encounter. To her surprise, Logan's hand, still carrying the ointment, suddenly flipped over, gripping her small hand tightly. Alicia trembled, meeting his gaze head-on, her eyes wide with uncertainty. Logan's piercing gaze bored into Alicia's eyes as if searching for hidden depths and unraveling her thoughts. "Not done yet. The heroine is currently facing a difficult situation and needs your support. Please leave your words of encouragement for her in the comments section." Her hand now captive in his, Alicia's heart pounded wildly in her chest. Panic-stricken, she blurted, "I'll do it myself." With a gentle tone, Logan countered, "You can't see your own face." Alicia found herself at a loss. Unsure of how to proceed, confusion clouded her thoughts, and she desperately sought to regain control of the situation. "Don't move," Logan commanded, releasing her hand momentarily before resuming his touch on her face. His fingers traveled to the corner of her mouth. A wave of anxiety washed over Alicia, her body trembling with unease. "Mr. Wilde," she stammered. Logan's frown deepened, clearly displeased with her interruption. Alicia took a moment to collect herself. "Mr. Wilde, thank you for the ointment. Could we just get to the point? Just tell me what you want from me." His finger brushed against her lips, freezing in place, suspended in the charged atmosphere. The temperature inside the car soared rapidly, intensifying the moment. Nervousness gripped Alicia, her heart pounding fast. "Miss Jansen, there is a price to pay for everything you do," Logan uttered slowly, his words emphasized with deliberate precision. Alicia's long eyelashes trembled, concealing the whirlwind of emotions swirling in her eyes. In a hushed whisper she confessed, "Yes, I now understand that you are not someone I can mess with." Logan probed further. "So, do you think you can mess with your editor, Jeremy?" A surge of anger bubbled within Alicia at the mention of Jeremy Chavez. She regarded him with disdain, hardly viewing him as a man. But as the chief editor, Jeremy had the power to make all hiring and firing decisions. She pressed her lips together tightly. "You're right. I can't afford to offend either of you." She could resign, of course, But how long would it take for her to find the next job? And in the meanwhile, how would she put bread on the table? Since you can't afford to provoke him, why bother? Logan's tone softened, attempting to reason with her. Think about it, you've just become an official employee at BuzzBeat. If you resign, Jeremy can sue you for breaching the terms of your employment contract. Alicia knew deep down that he spoke the truth, but short of resigning. She had no idea how she could pacify both Jeremy and Logan. I have a solution that would allow you to keep your job, Logan said. Alicia asked in a low voice. What is it? A seductive tone laced Logan's words as he traced her lips with his hand, temptation simmering in his voice. Jeremy wouldn't dare to fire you if you are my woman. Alicia's eyes widened. Your woman? Logan nodded. You want me to sleep with you? Alicia was incredulous. A smirk played on Logan's lips. We can give it a try. Alicia couldn't help but sneer, her voice filled with disdain. I'd rather be torn apart by your dogs than sleep with you. Logan's voice rose, his smile unyielding. I'm not negotiating with you, Alicia retorted with a sneer. So it's an order then? Well, screw you and your order. You haven't heard the details yet. Not interested. I don't want to talk to a man who thinks with his other head. The atmosphere crackled with animosity as Logan's face darkened, his grip on her face tightening. A tense moment later, he released his grip and pulled back. You said you preferred spending time with my dogs rather than me. Logan started the engine. Well, let's put that to the test. What are you going to do? Alicia asked, on guard. I have a proposal, Logan said as he drove. I'm going to give you 3 challenges. If you can complete them, I'll let you go and drop the matter about the article. And I'll even help you keep your job at BuzzBeat. Alicia remained silent. Knowing there must be a catch, the proposal sounded too good to be true. However, if, at any point in time you feel unable to complete the challenges, you'll have to become my woman. Logan glanced at Alicia in the passenger seat. What do you say? I say it's unfair. You are the one making all the rules. The game is rigged. I promise you it won't be. You'll see soon enough. The car ride back to Logan's grand estate was filled with tension and unspoken words. Alicia's heart pounded in her chest as she contemplated the challenges that awaited her. She couldn't deny the growing attraction she felt towards Logan, but she was determined to stand her ground. As they pulled up to the manor, Alicia's eyes widened in awe. The grandeur of the estate was overwhelming, a stark contrast to her humble life. She couldn't help but feel a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. Logan stepped out of the car and held the door open for Alicia, his gaze unwavering. Welcome to my domain, Alicia. She stepped out of the car, her posture strong and resolute. Logan led the way into the opulent mansion, his presence commanding. Alicia couldn't help but feel small and insignificant in such surroundings. They entered a spacious living room, adorned with exquisite artwork and luxurious furnishings. It was a place that exuded power and privilege. Then, they made their way to the beautifully landscaped backyard, where 2 fierce-looking dogs awaited them. One was a bull mastiff, the other a Rottweiler. The animal's intense gaze sent shivers down Alicia's spine. But she refused to let her fear show. The first challenge, Logan explained, is for you to spend half an hour with my loyal companions. If you can't win them over, you'll have to agree to be my woman. Alicia swallowed hard, steeling herself for the task ahead. She knew that these dogs were more than just animals. They were a reflection of Logan's guarded nature. I accept the challenge, she declared, her voice steady. If these were the same dogs that Lara encountered last night, then Alicia knew they wouldn't bite. Logan stepped back, observing the interaction from a distance. The dogs growled and bared their teeth, a clear display of their territorial nature. Alicia took a deep breath. Summoning all her courage, she approached the dogs cautiously, keeping her movements slow and deliberate. "Easy there, boys," she murmured, her voice soothing. "I'm not here to invade your territory." The dogs' growls began to soften, their eyes curious. Alicia extended her hand cautiously, allowing them to sniff her scent. Minutes turned into what felt like an eternity as Alicia patiently interacted with the dogs, slowly earning their trust. She used gentle strokes and soothing words to convey her intentions. Eventually, the fierce facade melted away and the dogs wagged their tails, licking Alicia's hand. She had won them over. Logan, watching from the sidelines, couldn't help but be impressed by Alicia's determination and ability to connect with the animals. His frown deepened, and a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. He drew a long drag from his cigarette, exhaling slowly. His thin lips moved, and he emitted a high-pitched whistle. The dogs perked up their ears at the sound of the whistle, their attention now focused on Logan. He whistled. Again, the dogs glanced up at him, then hung their heads in shame, realizing they'd ignored their master for almost half an hour. Alicia looked up at Logan standing on the steps. "Mr. Wilde, I suppose we're finished here." Logan took another puff of his cigarette, the white smoke curling up in the air. He gazed at her pale face, a sharp intensity emanating from his dark and dangerous eyes. This woman had continuously surprised him. It was an unexpected delight. He couldn't help but wonder about the depths of her potential. "All right. What's the second challenge?" Alicia's patience waned, discarding any pretense of politeness. Logan turned around. Terrence had just arrived. Logan whispered something to his assistant and then went into the house, disappearing upstairs. Terrence approached Alicia. "Miss Jansen, please come with me." Alicia hesitated. "Where are we going?" Terrence smiled, attempting to reassure her. "Don't worry, Miss Jansen, we are just going into the house." With Terrence leading the way, Alicia proceeded forward, the two dogs tailing behind her, their wagging tails and obedient behavior signaling her newfound authority. Curiosity got the better of Terrence as he couldn't resist asking, "Miss Jansen, how did you manage to tame Ripper and Sadie?" Overwhelmed by the situation, exhausted, and still harboring her resentment towards Logan's excessive punishment, Alicia couldn't find it in her to be courteous to the assistant. She retorted unhappily, "Why should I tell you?" Terrence's surprise was evident, but he said nothing. "What does your boss want?" Alicia pressed on, frustration lacing her words. "He still hasn't told me what the second challenge is." Terrence shook his head with a smile. "I genuinely have no idea what boss has in mind." Alicia followed Terrence into the cavernous house, turned down one hallway, then another, until he stopped in what looked like a second living room. She immediately took notice of the room's discreet, yet opulent design. The wooden accents added a natural touch to the otherwise metropolitan ambience. "Miss Jansen, please have a seat," Terrence gestured. Alicia entered the room, the door closing behind her as Terrence departed with the two dogs. Anxiety coursed through her veins, her nerves on edge. She almost jumped when she heard footsteps coming down a staircase. Slowly turning around, she found herself face to face with Logan. Glistening droplets of water cascaded down his sculpted physique, tracing the contours of his tan skin. His muscular frame was accentuated by his choice of attire, a simple pair of black swimming trunks that clung to his every curve. Alicia's eyes were drawn to his chiseled chest, perfectly sculpted with defined muscles that hinted at his strength and power. Beads of water clung to the ridges, highlighting each ridge and valley, creating a mesmerizing play of light and shadow. But it was his eyes that held her captive. Gray-blue orbs, piercing and intense, seemed to hold a world of mysteries and secrets. They bore into her soul, seemingly peering through the layers of her being, causing a shiver to run down her spine. His presence exuded an aura of dominance and authority, instantly commanding attention. The air around him crackled with palpable energy, an undeniable magnetism that drew others towards him. As he walked towards Alicia, each step deliberate and confident, the droplets of water clinging to his skin glistened in the sunlight, casting an ethereal glow around him. His slightly tousled hair, dark and inviting, framed his ruggedly handsome face. Adding to his allure, in that moment, Alicia couldn't help but feel a magnetic pull towards him. His mere presence ignited a fire within her, awakening desires that had long been dormant. It was as if he held the power to unravel her deepest fantasies and awaken a passion she had never known. Logan Wilde was the epitome of masculine beauty, a man whose mere existence could leave hearts racing and breaths stolen. Alicia struggled to remain composed, avoiding eye contact with him. "Why? Why are you only wearing swimming trunks?" Alicia stammered. Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. A faint smile played on Logan's lips as his sharp gaze fixated on Alicia's beautiful face. Lazily, he responded, "Join me for a swim." "Who said I wanted to swim?" Alicia retorted, utterly perplexed by his intentions. "You," Logan declared with a single word. A slight smile adorned his thin lips as he inched closer. "This is the second challenge." Alicia's head spun, and her heart raced. What kind of challenge was this? It was even easier than taming the dogs. "Go change into a swimsuit," Logan ordered, a smile still lingering on his face. Alicia hesitated. "Or should I help you change into one?" Logan seized her wrist and led her away. In a matter of seconds, Alicia found herself in yet another room, standing by an indoor swimming pool. The cool, pristine water beckoned, a testament to the pool's meticulous maintenance. Logan guided her towards a door and commanded, "Get in and change into a swimsuit." "I won't do it." Alicia mustered her courage, standing her ground. "You can't." Before she could finish her sentence, she was unceremoniously pushed into the changing room, the door slamming shut behind her. Taking a deep breath, Alicia lifted her gaze, meeting Logan's eyes' deep azure pools that seemed to suck her soul in. Logan's imposing figure blocked her path, leaving her no escape. The only option left was compromise. I'll change by myself then," Alicia relented. Logan's smile grew gentler as he whispered, "That's good. You have 3 minutes. Otherwise, I'll be more than willing to assist you." With that, he released his grip on her, opened the door, and exited the room, leaving Alicia to her own devices. Once Logan left the room, he leaned against the wall, his hand pressed against his bulging desire. He closed his eyes, furrowing his brows in distress. It was perplexing. Even doctors couldn't explain what was wrong with him. He hadn't been able to be intimate with women for almost 6 years. But this woman on the other side of the door had the power to stir his desires, igniting a flame that defied all reason. She didn't even have to do anything. Just a look, a single word, or even her very presence was enough to drive him mad. Logan's distress painted his face, a mix of confusion and longing. Meanwhile, inside the changing room, Alicia contemplated the 3 minutes Logan had granted her. Hastily, she opened the wardrobe, revealing a collection of brand new swimsuits, their price tags still intact. She selected the most conservative one, skirted one piece. while studying her reflection in the mirror, overwhelmed by embarrassment. Alicia possessed a flawless body, bearing no trace of her past pregnancy. The thought of the pregnancy caused a sorrowful look to flit across her eyes. Alicia sighed to herself. Milo could swim, but wasn't fond of the activity. He was more of an indoor cat. Alicia couldn't help but wonder what her other child would be like. If only he had survived at birth. Would he enjoy puzzles and books, like his brother Milo, or would he prefer to frolic in the water? Sadly, she would never have the chance to find out. Thump, thump, thump. A loud knocking at the door jolted Alicia out of her reverie. She took a deep breath, banishing the dark thoughts from her mind. Collecting herself, she approached the door and mustered the courage to face Logan once more. Logan's eyes narrowed as he scrutinized Alicia's flawless figure, his gaze sweeping up and down her body. Alicia's nerves were on edge, her face flushed with embarrassment under his intense gaze. She fidgeted with her hands, her unease evident. Logan observed her for a brief moment before his face darkened. He spoke abruptly, "Let's go." Without waiting for a response, Logan turned on his heels and made his way to the pool. Confused by his sudden change in demeanor, Alicia hurried to catch up, desperately trying to make sense of his actions. Crash! Logan leapt into the pool without warning, causing water to splash onto Alicia's face. She sputtered, wiping away the water as she watched him swim effortlessly to the other side, moving like a graceful fish. Alicia hesitated, then tentatively stepped into the pool, clutching onto the edge, hesitant to venture any further. Logan circled around and came to a stop in front of Alicia, their bodies close enough to touch. Her heart skipped a beat, and she dared not take a breath. With Logan's presence looming over her, she couldn't resist asking, "Mr. Wield, is the challenge just swimming with you, or do I have to swim faster than you? Be my girlfriend." Logan's voice was husky, carrying an undeniable allure. Alicia's heart raced, and she mustered the courage to decline. "Number, I'd prefer to try my luck with the challenges." She already won the first one, and the second one didn't seem so hard either. Undeterred, Logan inched even closer, causing Alicia to avert her gaze. She focused on his chest, only to notice a pale scar. It looked like a gunshot wound. Wasn't Logan Wild a businessman? How could he have gotten shot? "Why not?" Logan pressed, his voice resonating with a mix of curiosity and desire. "I can give you anything you want." "Mr. Wild, I'm married," Alicia said, "and I have a child. There's no way I can be your girlfriend or your mistress or whatever you call it." Desperate for an excuse, that was the only thing she could conjure. As soon as the words left her lips, the atmosphere shifted, the air growing heavy with tension. Silence enveloped them, stretching on for what felt like an eternity. Finally, Logan's deep voice pierced through the stillness. "You're not lying, are you?" Alicia clung to the pool's edge, her head nodding fervently. "But you are not wearing a wedding ring." "I keep it at home because I don't want to lose it." Logan's piercing gaze bore into her face, searching for any sign of deceit. Suddenly, he leaned forward and pulled her into an embrace. "Mr. Wild, I swear I'm not lying," Alicia pleaded, her voice frantic. "I have a 5-year-old son. I am already married. You can't." The rest of her sentence died in her throat as Logan guided her hand to his swim trunks. Alicia froze as soon as she realized what she was touching. "Do you feel it?" Logan's deep voice resonated in her ears, tinged with an unspoken urgency. She nodded, stiffly, unable to find her voice. "Now you know why. I want you to be my girlfriend." Alicia, finally coming back to her senses, pulled back her hand as if scalded. She cleared her throat. I'm sure you can always find another woman. A man with your looks and stature is surely spoiled for choice. Logan swore under his breath. There's no other woman. Damn it. It can only be... He paused. You better not be lying to me, Logan warned, his tone laced with a chilling undertone. If I catch you in a lie, there will be consequences. Alicia's fear deepened. She had indeed lied to him. Well, half a lie. She wasn't married, but she did have a child. Surely, a man like Logan should have no interest in a woman who had given birth to another man's child. And yet, Milo's resemblance to Logan stirred confusion within her. Alicia shook her head and banished that thought. There were plenty of people who looked alike and were not related by blood. Leaning in, Logan's imposing presence pressed her against the edge of the pool. Logan held her in his piercing gaze before abruptly releasing her and climbing out of the water, making his way to the changing room. Alicia hesitated to leave the pool, consumed by the fear of encountering Logan in the changing room. Paralyzed by apprehension, she remained rooted in the water, unwilling to make a move. 10 minutes passed, yet Logan didn't make an appearance. Alicia's anxiety intensified, her eyes darting around the area. Just then, a voice echoed from a distance, breaking the tension. Miss Jansen, Mr. Wilde has already left. I'll escort you back to the office, Terrence called out, relieved. Alicia let out a sigh and nodded gratefully. Take your time to change, said Terrence. I'll be waiting in the front hall. Once Terrence departed, Alicia hurriedly made her way to the changing room. Soon, Alicia arrived at the front hall, where the assistant awaited her with a smile. Miss Jansen, I'll take you back to the office now. Alicia was surprised, but grateful for his assistance. She thought to herself, did Logan forget about the third challenge? Or did he get bored with the game and decided to stop? Thank you. Alicia expressed her gratitude to Terrence. During their journey back, curiosity got the better of her, and she couldn't resist asking, does this mean all is forgiven between me and Mr. Wilde? Terrence smiled but shook his head. I don't know. Alicia felt unsettled, grappling with the lingering uncertainty. Miss Jansen Busbeat is not a good place to stay. Terrence spoke up after a while. Jeremy Chavez has quite the reputation, and not a good one. You should find a way out. Even if Mr. Wilde no longer cares about that article, your editor might not be so forgiving. Alicia nodded. Thank you for the advice, Terrence disclosed. This is what Mr. Wilde wanted me to convey. Alicia was taken aback by the revelation. When they reached the office of Busbeat, Terrence did not leave upon her exit from the car. Alicia asked, is there something else? Mr. Wilde asked me to accompany you inside, Terrence said. There's no need for you to. Alicia began, hesitant about inviting further judgment. Terrence interrupted her, his tone firm. Let me walk you in. Alicia relented. The two of them entered the office together, causing a hush to fall over the room. All eyes were fixed on Alicia, weighing upon her, fueling her embarrassment. Terrence halted their steps and addressed the room in a monotone. Where is Jeremy Chavez? Here. I'm here, Jeremy replied, stepping out of his office. His face was swollen, his cheeks red. But he forced a smile. His expression froze upon seeing Alicia. Then, he shifted his gaze to Terrence, the man responsible for his swollen face, and bowed. Mr. Baird, how can I assist you? Mr. Chavez, Miss Jansen is a friend of Mr. Wilde's. Take good care of her, Terrence stated with authority, his voice resonating through the office. Jeremy and Alicia were both dumbstruck by his words. Alicia couldn't believe she had somehow become Logan's friend. Jeremy quickly regained his composure and nodded. Of course I will. Terrence directed his attention back to Alicia, offering a final piece of advice. Miss Jansen, here is Mr. Wilde's phone number. If you find yourself in need of assistance, don't hesitate to call him. With those words, Terrence handed Alicia a luxurious, gold-plated business card. Its opulence leaving her stunned. Noticing Alicia's hesitation, Terrence firmly pressed the card into her hand, then glanced around the office before departing without another word. Alicia stared at the card in her hand, her mind racing, frozen in contemplation. With Terrence's departure, Jeremy shifted his gaze to Alicia, his expression transforming. He maintained a phony smile. Alessia, you are truly remarkable. Minutes after you got into Mr. Wilde's car, all our problems have gone away. He's agreed to drop the lawsuit for libel. On behalf of all our colleagues, thank you. Alicia keenly sensed Jeremy's scandalous intention. It was evident that he deliberately wanted to sow the seeds of misunderstanding among their colleagues, insinuating an inappropriate relationship between her and Logan. Already, there were surreptitious glances from her colleagues and whispered words among them. Ironically, it was the name card in her hand that protected her from being interrogated in the open. Gripping the name card tightly, Alicia locked eyes with Jeremy. In his gaze, she detected not only a touch of reluctance, but also a flicker of fear. Somehow, Alicia felt that Jeremy was far more deceitful than Logan could ever be. She understood that even if she were to explain the situation to her colleagues, it would only dig herself deeper into a pit of suspicion and mistrust. Mr. Chavez, you're welcome. Alicia held her head high and returned the phony smile. It's Mr. Wilde who is being generous. I guess he dropped the lawsuit as a way to compensate you for the ordeal you experienced with his bodyguards. Jeremy's face reddened with embarrassment. Before he could say anything, Alicia added, but I'm not sure if the whole thing has truly blown over. A tinge of fear flashed across Jeremy's face. What? It's not over yet. Alicia shook her head. I really can't say. She genuinely had no clue about Logan's intentions. The man had a mercurial temperament. With the name card safely tucked away, Alicia proceeded to her cubicle, her every movement under the watchful gaze of her colleagues. Jeremy stomped back into his office, slamming the door shut. As soon as Alicia settled into her chair, she was surprised to see Lara coming towards her. I thought you took the day off, she said. I got called back by Jeremy. Lara shuffled her chair closer. Leaning in, she spoke in hushed tones. Alicia, I'm sorry. You probably wouldn't be taken away by Mr. Wilde's men if I hadn't told them about the photos. Alicia shook her head. There's nothing to apologize for. I took the photos. I'm responsible. Anyway, I'm relieved to see you back in one piece. Lara's tone shifted and a hint of bitterness crept in. If I had known you could handle the situation, I wouldn't have intervened. Lara curled her lips into a suggestive smile. But I guess every cloud has a silver lining, huh? Now that you've become good friends with Mr. Wilde, you'll have a solid foothold in our company. The way she emphasized the words good friends left Alicia in no doubt about what kind of relationship Lara thought she had with Logan. She choked on the water she had been drinking, coughing uncontrollably. Lara asked, Are you okay? Sorry about that. Alicia finally managed to catch her breath. It's fine. I just choked. Unfazed, Lara continued with her inquiry, curiosity burning in her eyes. So, Alicia, where did you go with Mr. Wilde today? It's a house somewhere on the outskirts of the city, I guess, Alicia said, eager to end the conversation. And what did you do? Lara prodded, undeterred by Alicia's lack of enthusiasm. Alicia hadn't expected Lara to be so nosy. We had a brief chat. I apologized sincerely. And that was that. Lara was clearly unconvinced, her gaze fixed on Alicia with a knowing smirk. Alicia, who are you fooling? You know very well what happens when a man invites a woman out. Surely you're no stranger to it. Alicia paused, meeting Lara's gaze head-on. She smiled and playfully retorted. And what did Mr. Wilde invite you to do last night? Lara froze, her body tensing up instantly. Alicia continued with a hint of jest. According to your earlier statements, something must be going on between you two. You were whisked away at night, and it was quite late. Anger flashed across Lara's eyes before she hastily composed herself. Offering an awkward smile, she conceded, You are smarter than I thought. Alicia maintained eye contact. Speaking earnestly, Miss Morris, I'm here to work. I don't want trouble, nor do I crave recognition. I simply want to earn my salary to support my family, that's all. Her words held a sense of clarity and determination, neither humble nor pushy, but unyielding in making her stance clear. Lara gazed at Alicia for a while before finally nodding. Fine, I get it. Alicia hoped that Lara would truly comprehend her intentions and understand that she harbored no desire to compete with her or anyone else. Hi, day, ko. Sir, as you ordered. I drove Miss Jansen back to the office, Terence reported, entering the manor. He found Logan standing by the window, a cigarette between his slender fingers, exhaling wisps of smoke. Logan remained silent, his gaze fixed on the blooming garden outside. Terence stood still, waiting for instructions. After what felt like an eternity, Logan broke the silence with a question. Terence, do you think I'm attractive? The usually eloquent assistant, caught entirely off guard, stammered out a reply. I'm sure you are very handsome, sir. But is it the type of handsomeness that would be desired by a woman? Terence breathed out a quiet sigh of relief when he finally understood his boss's question. He took a moment to collect himself before responding truthfully. Of course, sir. From every perspective, you are the epitome of an eligible bachelor. You possess a spotless reputation, a successful career, a vast amount of wealth, not to mention your looks. It's only natural for every woman to desire you. Logan fell into contemplation, his silence enveloping the room. Time seemed to stand still, as Logan took another drag of his cigarette, exhaling a plume of smoke into the air. Finally, he spoke, his voice deep and filled with curiosity. Then why does Alicia Jansen hate me? Terence was taken aback. Is that true? Did Miss Jansen say that? Logan took another drag, his voice resonating with a hint of bitterness. Not with her words, but with her attitude. Terence's eyes widened, momentarily speechless. You've spent some time with her. What do you think? Does she hate me? Logan demanded, his voice carrying an undertone of frustration. Terence was quick with a reply. No, sir, of course not. No woman can truly hate you, sir. She rejected me with the lame excuse of being married. Logan sneered. She's not even wearing a ring. Either she thinks I'm a fool, or that I'm not even worth her time to come up with a more plausible excuse. Maybe there's a misunderstanding, sir. I heard it from her own lips. She even claimed to have a child. Logan snorted with derision. Like I'd buy that. Terence racked his brain, trying to come up with a way to soothe his boss's wounded ego. Sir, for most men, you are an epitome of admiration, a paragon of male excellence. The majority of women would also consider you an ideal partner, he added after a pause. But Miss Jansen might be an exception. She doesn't judge solely based on superficial qualities. Logan raised an eyebrow. Are you implying that I'm a superficial man? No. Terence rushed to clarify. I mean, Miss Jansen is unique, which is why you find her intriguing. Logan pinned his assistant with a sharp look. Did I ever say I find her intriguing? Terence's mouth hung open, unable to reply. What was wrong with his boss today. Come to think of it, it's your negligence that led to this mess, Logan accused, his voice tinged with annoyance. You failed in your duties, forcing me to take matters into my own hands, asking her to swim with you. That's your solution. Terrence grumbled to himself. Speak up, Logan demanded, his voice laced with impatience when Terrence remained silent. Startled, Terrence stammered. About what, sir? Why doesn't she desire me? It had been Logan's experience that women tended to throw themselves at him. But not Alicia Jansen. Terrence tensed up, feeling the weight of Logan's intense gaze. I'm your executive assistant, not your relationship consultant, he thought, but dared not say out loud. I deserve a raise. Speak. Terrence took a moment to gather his thoughts before cautiously responding. Perhaps she misunderstood your intentions and mistook you as a bit of a perv. His last word was barely above a whisper. Logan's brows furrowed deeply. Extinguishing his cigarette in the ashtray, he took a seat and fixated his gaze on Terrence. Are you calling me a pervert? Not me, sir, Terrence replied promptly, his voice quivering slightly. But I can see how a lady might misconstrue your intentions if you asked her into your home, ordered her to change into a swimsuit, and then jumped into the pool with her while you were, half naked. Plucking up his courage, Terrence added, if you genuinely desire someone's company, there must be a better way, sir. Logan glared at Terrence, his displeasure palpable. Damn, I'm so getting fired today, the assistant thought to himself. Maybe it's time to polish up that resume. Get lost, Logan roared, hastily. Terrence made himself scarce. He returned to his own office and wondered if he should start looking for a new job. Mr. Logan Wilde was a generous boss, but his mercurial moods made it hard for his employees to anticipate his demands. Just as the assistant was lost in his thoughts, his phone abruptly rang, jolting him back to reality. He picked up the call. Willed Enterprises, how may I help you? A female voice came through the line. Mr. Baird, this is Olivia Anderson. I would like to see your boss. Terrence arched an eyebrow, recognizing the name. Miss Anderson, I'm sorry, but Mr. Wilde is not available at the moment. Undeterred, Olivia persisted. Your boss must have heard about the news by now, and you, as his assistant, surely did too. Now, I'm deeply stuck in this, and it has been causing problems for me. Talk to Logan for me, and see how he can help me solve this crisis. Terrence let out an exasperated sigh. Miss Anderson, you should be speaking to the management at your own talent agency, he advised. Surely, they have a PR department equipped to deal with the BuzzBeat story. Don't you think I've tried that already? Olivia's voice quivered with frustration. Mr. Baird, I have worked with Wild Enterprises before. You and I both know the news is not doing your boss's reputation any good. Why don't we join hands and do something about it? Your PR department is much larger than the one at my company. Terrence's face hardened. Miss Anderson, yes, you are the brand ambassador for some of our products, but that endorsement deal is soon coming to an end, and we see no reason to renew it. I can't justify using our company's resources for your sake. It's not just for me, an air of desperation emanated from Olivia's voice. Fine, if you won't help, then don't blame me for taking matters into my own hands. I know who's behind the story. I know the photos were taken by a woman called Alicia Jansen. I saw her at the hotel lounge. She was the one having an affair with Logan? Wasn't she? Don't you dare try and make me the scapegoat? Terrence's brows furrowed as he processed this new information. Miss Anderson, no one tried to make you the scapegoat. As far as I know, you went into that lounge to make, advances to my boss. Regardless of who took those photos, they were real, weren't they? "That's not true. I was just..." Olivia's anger flared, but she abruptly halted herself, her tone shifting from confrontational to plaintive. "Mr. Baird, I just want to see Logan in person. Please pass the message to him that I'm waiting outside his house right now." "Which house? Silverwood Estate? Of course. Where else? Mr. Wilde has more than a dozen properties," Terrence muttered to himself. To Olivia, he said in a business-like tone, "I will relay the message." After ending the call, he left his office, walked down a hallway until he reached Logan's private quarters. Logan, his face as icy as ever, barely registered Terrence's entrance. "Sir, Miss Anderson is waiting for you at the front gate," Terrence said. "She would like to see you." "Not interested." "Noted, sir." Terrence hesitated for a moment before delivering the next piece of information. "Miss Anderson has also come to know that the photos published in the BuzzBeat story were taken by Miss Jansen. She said that if you won't see her, she may take revenge on Miss Jansen." Logan's brows knitted together in a rare display of concern. His voice turned cold as he declared, "No one can threaten me." Terrence couldn't help but feel that Olivia was dancing on thin ice. "I'll ask her to leave immediately." Logan's sneer lingered on his face as he dismissed Terrence's suggestion. "There is no need. If she wants to wait, let her wait." Terrence nodded. He knew the actress was playing a dangerous game and testing Logan's patience. He returned to his office and resumed working, secretly relieved that his boss showed no signs of firing him. Meanwhile, Olivia's patience waned as she waited outside the manor for 3 agonizing hours. Frustration gnawed at her, and she couldn't resist the temptation to reach out to Terrence for an update. She dialed his number, only to be met with silence. Olivia's agitation reached its peak, and with no other recourse, she made a difficult decision. Resigned, she turned away from the imposing manor and left, vowing to find another way to confront Logan and Alicia. Sator. Bay-C. Evening had fallen, and Alicia, eager to leave work behind, began packing her belongings. As she stepped out of the BuzzBeat office, however, her path was abruptly blocked by 2 tall figures, their imposing presence sending a chill down her spine. Alicia's eyes widened with alarm. She knew trouble was brewing, and these men were no ordinary visitors. They stood before her, their faces expressionless. "Miss Jansen, please come with us," one of them demanded in a deep, gravelly voice. "No," she said firmly. "Whoever you are, I don't have time for this." She tried to step around them, but the men were not so easily deterred. With a swift movement, one of them moved forward to block her path, his towering frame serving as an immovable barrier. Alicia's heart raced as she desperately searched for a way out. That was when her eyes fell upon a familiar black van parked in an alley nearby. She recognized it instantly, and her suspicions grew. "Who sent you?" Alicia demanded. "Miss Anderson wishes to speak to you," one of the men revealed, his voice lacking any hint of warmth. "Olivia Anderson." The name echoed in Alicia's mind, and realization dawned upon her. It was indeed the actress. But why would she want to talk to her? Was it about the article? But Logan said he'd already dropped the matter.